Hello everyone, it's Della DuLac. Today I'm going to share with you some of the cards that I made with the Florals and Bloom suite. These are such beautiful cards that they have here in the catalog. Gives you some inspiration. You're of course welcome to do any of these that you'd like. I've done a few different ones. Some more of the papers and these beautiful dots that you can add. There's a couple different stamp sets that you can get in the suite. I chose to do this one. I could have done both, but did not. I'll show you a few of those cards here in a second. Let's just show you a little bit more of what they have in the catalog for inspiration. Super fun. Really pretty cards. I'm going to show you what I've done. Rid of the catalog. Here's the stamp set, so the pretty florals and the matching dies. You can cut out a few of these image, and then it has a few extra ones that you can cut out and layer up. These are the beautiful papers. I just love flower prints because you can use them for just about any occasion. They're so versatile. And one thing that I usually do with my 12 by 12 paper, let's take one of these out. So of course this is your 12 by 12. So what I do a lot to cut mine, so depending on which direction you want your prints going and which way you want your card to go, either landscape or portrait. So I will cut mine at 6 by 12. And then I will trim off just there's the 6. This is the 6, so I'll trim this off. So this is my 5 1/4. So I end up with these great matte pieces that fit perfectly on your card fronts with a little bit of a matte. And then this little strip I will cut. So this is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So when you do that, you get either three strips that you can cut at 4 inches and then turn it and cut it. So it just depends on how you want your layout of your cards to go. But I do this because then I use every little bit, and I typically use these on the insides of my cards, as I'm sure you've seen in my other videos. But that's kind of how I usually cut mine. But you can, of course, cut yours in different ways, and then you get different cards, prints. Alright, so here's a few. So that was the paper that I used just a second ago and showed you. So I cut it like this. Super simple layout. And then I've got a little focal point to add to it, and then a little a banner. Kind of a fun way to do a little banner. And then a few of the little dots. So I'm not gonna get too far into my samples here yet. I'm going to show you a card, just a super simple card. Doesn't have to have a whole lot of embellishments, just your simple cards. Just using the beautiful paper. So I'm gonna fold this. And one of the great things on the packaging, let's see what I do with that. To show you. So on the back of your package, it will give you a list of the colors, the Stampin' Up! Colors that they've used in the kit. So that's a great resource for you to pull out some of your card-based colors. And for this one, I'm using the Misty Moonlight. That's not in the list, but you can, of course, pull out a lot of different things that you like. So this one here is the Secret Sea, which looks really great, which is on your list. But the Misty Moonlight is really pretty too, and they really look nice together when you do that. But I'm going to do, so this is my card, white card base to put on the inside, and I have my little strip that I showed you before that I always put on the inside. Let's just go ahead and put all of those pieces together. I'm going to start with that on the inside. Get that lined up. There we go. So we've got our inside piece. And then this one I'm just going to glue straight on here. Put a little bit of seal. I usually like to do all 4 sides just to make sure that it's good to go instead of just the corners. Super quick card. Great way to just cut your paper up, and sometimes I will do that with my whole pack of paper. I'll just cut it up so I have all of my card fronts in a nice little stack and make super quick cards that way. But if you do decide to cut your cards and you have in your paper in different ways, then you end up with like little pieces like this. This is the reverse of that paper. So what I'm going to do is I will flag the end, so I'll have that over here. I'm going to line that up with the top of that. Let's move that over just a tiny bit more. So it comes down like this, and I've already done, and I'm going to put this one on with some dimensionals. So I've already done my little greeting. Put a couple dimensionals on there. And then we'll put that on, maybe something like that. Super quick card, but very cute. So when you do layering like this, you can have it something like this. You can see this paper, you can line it up with the edge or all the way over. I kind of like it like this, and I want these stripes to show a little bit better. So I'm going to line it up something like that. Very cute. And then maybe just adding a couple of those fun little dots just for some bling. I usually like to do odd numbers, or yeah, odd numbers. So and sometimes just the two. But let's do one of these. And let's see, where else should we put this? Maybe over here. Nah. Oops. It has a mind of its own. Let's put one down here. There we go. Little sprinkled, super quick, very easy card. All right, let's get back to some of the other samples here. I'll leave this one over here. So you've got anywhere from super simple cards. You can step them up just a little bit. So I've taken a strip of one of the panels, and then I flipped it over. So I trimmed it here, and these you don't have to do dimensions, you know, certain dimensions. You can kind of wing it, which I do a lot. But some people have to have dimensions. But I'll put on my strip of the paper first here, and then I will cut the card flap to match it so it's got a little bit of a mat. And then that strip that I cut off, I flipped over to put here. So just a little bit of a different fold. This one is just your basic fold. And so I've got, where is it? Well, we'll get to it. So we've got all of these, and then some of the little dies that are in there. You can layer them up. I have used a few retired dies, but you pull out all of your dies, get some little white pieces you can add on here, some old dimensions. Sometimes I don't put a white piece on, so if I have a light color, this is the bubble bath. Sometimes if I have a light colored base, I don't always put that white strip. And then this one, again, I've cut my panel, and then I cut a strip and I flipped it over so you can see the other side of the beautiful paper. Just for a little bit of interest, and some more of these little flowers. These are just the dies, so this one has the stamps that you can cut out, and then you can put it with the dies that cut out, and a little strip at the bottom, using all your paper. Now this one's just a little bit different of a fold. So I've cut my paper the long way and then folded it, and then from the fold to the corner I've cut at a diagonal. And then my panel, so this was the same paper, so my panel I cut it at a diagonal and then put it on. And this is a 3x3 card, so 3x6, and then you just kind of layer that in there. And then I've got some of those. Some more of those little dies, dyed cut flowers. So cute, super cute. And here's some more, just using up some of your strips. Great way to use all those up. and then a different fold. So that's super easy, fun fold. You just fold your card normally and then fold the back panel like that. I'm sure lots of you have done that before. And of course the strip on the inside. Now this is done. I did some of these on the Memories and More cards, so you can get those, and they're a larger card, so they're a 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 card. Then you can use some of your 6 by 6 papers, or if you cut your 12 by 12 in half and you've got a lot of 6 by 6 pieces, that's a great way to put them on these cards. And then of course do a little bit of stamping, add some of that paper on the inside. Again, super quick cards. Now this one is not so quick. Lots of fun layers with all of those beautiful die cut flowers. So the way that I end this one, in a little pocket that slides out, little stamped flowers on there. Very cute. Not super quick, but it's not so complicated either. So I just grabbed a retired piece of paper to show how I've cut this. So this is 5 1/4 or 5 1/2 by 9, and then I did my scoring, so I've done 4 1/4 and 8 1/2. So this is the 4 1/4 from this direction. So if you put it on your scoreboard, you would do 4 1/4 and then 8 1/2, and then that's how you get your little strip here. So you can put your tear tape down here at the bottom, and always put your tear tape close to the fold so you get a really nice seal. So you put those together and then close your card. And then I've taken a circle punch or any kind of a punch, so you'd have a little bit of a, so you can pull that out without too much. If you have the ribbon, then it wouldn't really matter too much if you don't do that. But so this one I cut just a little bit shorter. This one I did half the circle. This one I did like 1/4 of it, or 3/4 of it, or 1/3. Okay, and then the dimensions for this one, the mat is 4 by 5, and then the white piece here is 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. That is those are my beautiful cards for you today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to check out some of my other videos. So there's lots of different card ideas there for you. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up and click that bell button so you don't miss a video. Have a wonderful day. Let me know which one was your favorite card. Bye-bye.